Great. What did you call the piece? Say the name again. Yes, and what does it mean?
Speak to them. Liszt wrote this right in front of the fountains in this city called Via d'Este.
It's in Tivoli. It's the fountains of Via d'Este, and there's. Have you seen pictures of it? Like you have to go on the internet. He went there because he was. I guess they didn't use that word, but nowadays he was depressed, and he went there just to perk his spirits up. And he was so taken that he went back there every year almost until he died. So it's there's not just one fountain. So if you can imagine, let's say, a whole bunch of fountains, like if you can imagine how the New York Philharmonic sounds and the Philadelphia Orchestra sounds and the San Francisco Symphony and Chicago, whatever. So there's all of these different water sounds, right? So some are small, some are large. So I think you need, but definitely you need to see video because the sounds of the waters are wonderful. And then at the same time you need to kind of make a better painting. So this is a sound painting of those fountains, right? So one of the things, so if I asked you, how do you think you could improve this? Since we played it a while, what would you say?
Well, first, I think each section needs to have like a better transition, and each section should mean something before the next.
Well, that sounds like something somebody told you. Is that just nobody ever told you that?
I just think it should be more.
I think that your transitions take too much time. So the difference in the key color, because he has all these enharmonic modulations, so every time he has one of those, he usually precedes it by a double bar. So, does that mean anything specific to you? Because it sounds as though you think it means to take time. But that's not true. I mean, a lot of composers have that. You know, Brahms has that, Chopin has that, Liszt has that, you can see here, and Rachmaninoff has that. I mean, it's a kind of a working, okay, so we're going into a new key, you don't need to take time. So I think that it should be smoother, like water. The other thing about this is dynamics. So we need more texture. And contrary to, we talked a lot, or I don't know if we talked about it during this festival, but I guess there's no question that there's been a ton of loud playing. And the reason, one of the reasons is because this is a very live hall, but this is not a loud piece, right, generally. So one of the things I would say to you is, how can you play soft? Right? So can we start? I mean, I want to just talk. So this is, I would not know that he was there. I mean, I know it's there because I know the piece, you know, but. So, you know, can you just play the opening? We're going to hop around, I think. They need to be even. So what I notice all over is the takeover from one hand to the next is not perfectly even. Can you play with that pedal?
Yeah.
So you have the seam between the right and the left, but you don't have the seam sewn well between the left and the right. So here's it. Now can you just play this? So there's an accent there. Make it accent this. Yes. How can you play this light? How do you play light?
It's like to sort of,
Well, what would you do to tell me to play really lightly? I'm your student now. Just for my minute.
maybe like sort of slide instead of attack.
What about leaning back? You have to have flatter fingers, and you have to take some weight out of the key. And you have to put the sock on the back so it's going to go down. These have to be. So there's to be a difference between this one and this one. Okay, that's the first one a little bit more. Flat fingers, lean back, get your knee down. Uncurve. How can that be more shimmering? You're too curved. You're sort of like this. So all on one pedal. I think you're playing with flat fingers. And so how does the phrase go? The phrase goes, right? Yeah. So do that. Don't pedal like you're pedaling Mozart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just a little bit. We talked a lot about having the dampers really close to the strings. So just it's too clear. It's this by the way. I don't think water does that. It's like,
Yeah.
good. Well, see, the mix isn't too good. Look. Do that first. Wait, do you see his pedal? Do you see his pedal? He goes away, and he keeps it. It works perfectly if you voice well. That's the big F here. So this. Flat fingers. And the reason it doesn't work so well for you is it's a simple fix, I think. If you don't shape the line, if you just have a short line, then what happens is because you're using, and he's telling you to use the crescendo pedal, these original pedals don't work because you get this way. Liszt was one of the great geniuses of piano. Like, color and imagination, you just couldn't have more. And also his just ability to improvise. I'm a little bit swayed into that because I played some Erard pianos. And these markings really work. You know, I mean, the piano teaches you a lot. So can you start here and use one pedal, and if it gets a little thick, just lift the pedal a little bit. Why do you take so much time there? So there's two ways of actually, you know, just simplifying it for this class. You can play it this way. So you're this. I'm not sure that we need this. So that's what I mean, you know, you're slow moving on. So I'm not sure why you're doing this if somebody told you to do this. What's this much? So there are three things, basically, three ways of playing the piano. One way is staying in place. Probably if you had to play, it wouldn't take time because it wouldn't involve a movement, right? Yeah. So you have to either stay in place, or you have to go to the left, or you have to go to the right. So when you have to go to the left or the right, you always make, in this piece, a retard. So to alleviate that, watch. So I'm finishing the bar already moving to the left. So that's anticipation. So there's like an anticipated move, and there's a delayed move. And like on a string instrument, you can make an anticipated slide or a delayed slide, and we can do that on piano too. Although we can't actually slide, we can just create the illusion, right? So this is an anticipated move, and you need these. Right, so move faster. Do this part. The falls don't stop. I mean, they just keep flowing forever. So that's the one thing about this piece that you really, really need to get that. So I wonder if we could do the end, like the last page. Right? This is just, oh, what happened? Please don't have to do this. Do that when we're done, we have to stop. Why can't you? How do you make this come out? Raise your wrist just a little bit. If I hold them, the sound doesn't sound as good as this. The difference is, you know, don't be so occupied with this that you're worried about if everyone comes out. Water doesn't work that way. There's millions of drops. You don't see them all. It's the overall texture. This is a beautiful piece. Everybody should, you all should play this piece. How many people have played this? No one? This is a really, really nice way of teaching yourself texture and color with all of the trimmings and trappings that Liszt put on his Christmas tree, if you have one. Okay, thank you.